Hi, I want to talk about food additives. Two important studies out of France just recently were among the very first to really look at food additives as a cause of major degenerative disease. And it was very effective. The results were surprising, even to the researchers. They looked at 109,000 records of people that were systematically interviewed about their diet and their specific products they were eating. And they looked at specific preservatives in the foods they were eating and compared them with the results of their health history. And those people, they didn't have cancer or type 2 diabetes when they started, and they followed them for over 10 years to see who developed the cancers or the type 2 diabetes and compared it with how many different preservatives they were using and the specific preservatives. So they looked at, let's see, 58 different preservatives, and then they narrowed it down to look at 17 in particular. And what they found was there were 6 that were specifically associated with creating cancer, particularly prostate and breast, but also all other cancers. And then there were also a whole nother series that overlapped somewhat that made it more likely to get the diabetes type 2. And most of these were associated with, most of these were associated with processed meat and mold inhibitors and microbe inhibitors and other kinds of preservatives and some actual antioxidants, but lab produced vitamin E and vitamin C. And so what they also found that some of the things that actually occur naturally when they're isolated into food additives, they cause problems. So it all comes down to whole foods, whole natural organic foods that don't have food additives. Like I talk about the single ingredient foods, then you don't get the additives, and you want them organic so they don't sneak in and pesticides and herbicides and other things that don't show up on the ingredient lists. So this is a really important of research that shows that even if they're generally recognized as safe by the FDA, that doesn't mean they are not promoting degenerative conditions like type 2 diabetes and various kinds of cancer. So, and it wasn't just a 3% increase. We were talking in this study between like increase and up to 50% more likely to get type 2 diabetes or various kinds of cancer from eating too many of these individual preservatives. It also appeared that the more different ones you were eating, the more likely you were to have these conditions. So the researchers were impressed that this was dramatic. And they also said, well, we need to do more research because some of these things are recognized as being safe as food additives. But like I said, the bottom line for us individuals is forget the food additives. Buy food that doesn't need additives and rely on natural minerals that come from the foods, fibers, enzymes, antioxidants that come from your foods. So, and go back to other Vibrant Health presentations because there's so much information, and I try to keep you up to date with dramatic new research. Although I believe we don't need a whole lot more research to know that the body thrives on real food as it comes from nature, minimally processed so that it's safe and delicious. Thanks.